You know what they say about locked gates and bad neighbors? Sometimes the universe has a twisted sense of timing. This is Jack Stone, and if you're watching Karenology, you know it's never just about a simple misunderstanding. 3:30 in the morning. That's when my life got turned upside down by a woman who thought she owned the entire neighborhood. I'm standing in my driveway, coffee in hand, staring at my own front gate like it's some alien artifact. The electronic lock blinks red, red, red. Won't budge. The smell of wet asphalt from last night's rain fills my nostrils, and I can feel that familiar weight in my pocket, my father's old army dog tag, the one thing that keeps me grounded when the world goes sideways. "Morning, Jack," comes this sickeningly sweet voice from behind the hedge. Karen Morrison steps out, perfectly pressed pantsuit, hair sprayed into submission at this ungodly hour. She's got this smile that would make a used car salesman nervous. I set my coffee on the truck's hood. "Karen, care to explain why I can't get into my own damn property?" She waves a piece of paper like it's the Declaration of Independence. "Oh, this? Emergency Maintenance Protocol, Homeowners Association, Rule 4.7. Electrical line work requires complete zone isolation for safety." Now, I've been a contractor for 30 years. I know electrical work. And I know Karen Morrison's been looking for any excuse to mess with me since I moved here 2 years ago. "What electrical work? I didn't get any notice." "Funny thing is, Jack," she says, stepping closer, "you did. We sent it to all affected residents last Tuesday." Her eyes glitter with something that makes my stomach turn. "Of course, if you'd been attending our meetings instead of hiding in that workshop of yours, the gate's control panel keeps blinking. My pickup truck, loaded with tools for today's roofing job at the Henderson place, sits trapped behind those bars like a caged animal. That's $2,000 in my pocket if I make it there by 8. Was $2,000. "Show me the work order," I say. She unfolds the paper with theatrical precision. Official letterhead, stamps, signatures, the works. Emergency power line maintenance, Maple Street corridor, authorized by county utilities. Should be wrapped up by noon. I lean closer to read it. Something's off. The dates look fresh, too fresh. And that signature at the bottom? I swear I've seen it before, but not on any utility document. "You got a problem with public safety, Jack?" Her voice drops that fake sweetness. "Because I'd hate to think you're the kind of neighbor who puts his wallet above everyone else's well-being." That's when I hear the footsteps on gravel. Tom Bradley, the electrician from down the street, walking his dog. Good guy, someone I'd actually trust with live wires. He spots us and waves. "Tom!" I call out. "You know anything about power work happening today?" Tom walks over, his old retriever sniffing around Karen's pristine shoes. He squints at her paperwork, and I watch his face change. Something flickers in his eyes, confusion, then something else. Something that looks a lot like fear. "Oh, Tom stammers. "Yeah, I think I heard something about that. Better safe than sorry, right?" But he won't meet my eyes. Tom Bradley, who's never been afraid to tell the mayor to his face that his wiring's garbage, suddenly can't look at me. Karen's smile widens. "See? Everyone's on board except you, Jack. Makes a person wonder what you're really afraid of." I feel that dog tag pressing against my leg through my pocket. Dad always said the first sign of trouble is when honest people start acting dishonest. And right now, Tom Bradley looks like a man with a gun to his head. "Fine," I say, backing toward my front door. "But if this isn't wrapped up by noon, we're going to have words." "Oh, Jack," Karen calls after me. "I'm sure we'll have words much sooner than that." As I walk away, I catch something in my peripheral vision. Karen pulls out her phone and dials, but here's what made my blood run cold. She waits until she thinks I'm out of earshot, then says just loud enough for me to catch, "Phase 1 complete. He's trapped." Phase 1? Trapped? I stand at my front window, watching her through the blinds. She's still on that phone, pacing back and forth in front of my gate like she owns the place. Tom's already disappeared with his dog, moving faster than I've seen him move in years. That's when I notice the white van parked across the street. 2 men in utility vests, but they're not doing any work. They're watching, waiting. Have you ever felt like you're the mouse and just realized the maze was built around you? Because that's exactly what was happening, and Karen Morrison had just sprung the first trap. The white van stays put for exactly 15 minutes, then rolls away like nothing happened. But I'm not buying the coincidence. I grab my phone and do what any reasonable man would do. I call the county utilities office. It's County Electric. This is Maria. Hi, Maria. This is Jack Stone on Maple Street. I'm calling about the emergency power line work happening at my address today. Silence, then typing. More silence. Sir, I'm not showing any scheduled work for Maple Street today. Are you sure you have the right? I hang up. My hands are shaking, and it's not from the coffee. Here's what happened next. I march back outside, Karen's fake work order still crumpled in my fist, ready to shove it in her smug face. But she's gone, vanished like smoke. The only trace left is her car pulling out of her driveway, windows tinted so dark I can't see inside. That's when the real show starts. Mrs. Henderson from 3 houses down comes speed walking over, her face twisted with concern. Behind her, old Pete from the corner lot, and Sarah Jenkins with her arms crossed like she's ready for battle. A regular neighborhood tribunal. Hey, Jack, Mrs. Henderson pants. Karen called us all, said you're refusing to cooperate with emergency safety protocols. I hold up the work order. This is fake. I just called county utilities. No work scheduled. Pete shakes his head like I'm a child throwing a tantrum. Come on, Jack. Why would Karen lie about something like this? Because she's been trying to find reasons to mess with me since day one, I say. Remember the mailbox complaint, the grass height violation, the complaint about my truck being commercial vehicle parking? Sarah steps forward, and there's something in her voice I don't like. Jack, we're just trying to keep everyone safe. If the utility company says there's a problem, the utility company didn't say anything. My voice comes out louder than intended. I called them. No scheduled work. That's when I see it, the look. That same look Tom had 20 minutes ago. Fear mixed with something else, like they're all reading from the same script. Mrs. Henderson fidgets with her purse strap. Well, maybe there's been some miscommunication, but Karen showed us all the official paperwork. It looked very legitimate. Looked legitimate to who? Any of you ever seen a real utility work order? Silence. These people have lived here longer than me, trusted each other for years, and now I'm the outsider calling their judgment into question. Pete clears his throat. Look, Jack, nobody's saying you're wrong, but what if you're not right either? What if there really is a safety issue and you're... And I'm what? Putting everyone at risk because I want to make a roofing call? We didn't say that, Sarah says quickly, too quickly. But their faces tell a different story. I can see it forming in their minds. Jack Stone, the contractor who puts money before safety. Jack Stone, who argues with emergency protocols. Jack Stone, the problem neighbor. That's when young Mike Ernst comes jogging up the street. Code inspector for the county, barely 28, but sharp as a tack. Kid actually knows his stuff, which is rare in local government. Morning, folks, Mike says, catching his breath. What's all the excitement about? Yeah, I waved the work order. Mike, you ever seen county utilities use this kind of letterhead? He takes the paper, and I watch his face. No fear this time, just professional curiosity. Mike studies it for a solid 30 seconds, flips it over, holds it up to the light. Huh, he says finally. This is interesting. Interesting how? Mike looks around at the gathered neighbors, then back at me. Mind if we talk privately for a minute? Mrs. Henderson huffs. Anything you need to say can be said in front of all of us. We're all affected by this situation. But Mike's already walking toward my driveway, motioning for me to follow. I catch up to him by my truck, and he leans close enough that nobody else can hear. Jack, I saw the real maintenance notification for this area last week, filed with our office like they're supposed to. But it was scheduled for next Thursday, not today, and it wasn't for this street. My blood pressure spikes. You're sure? Dead sure. But here's what's weird. The real notification mentioned some preliminary survey work. Someone from the power company was supposed to check property boundaries and access points. He glances back at the neighbors, who are clearly straining to overhear us. The kind of work that might require temporary access restrictions. I think about Karen's phone call. Phase 1 complete. Mike, who would have access to that kind of information? County planning office, utility companies, property assessors. He pauses. And anyone with a relative who works in those departments. Karen Morrison. Didn't her brother work for the electric company? I'm trying to remember when she mentioned it. Some barbecue last summer where she was bragging about family connections. What would you do? I ask Mike. If you were in my situation, he hands back the work order and checks his watch. Honestly, I'd document everything. Take photos, make calls, get statements. Because if someone's running a con game using fake government paperwork, that's not just neighborhood drama anymore. Mike starts to walk away, then turns back. Oh, and Jack, be careful who you trust today. Sometimes the people trying to help you are the ones with the most to lose. As he jogs away, I look back at my impromptu jury of neighbors. They're huddled together now, whispering like teenagers planning something. Mrs. Henderson keeps glancing at her watch. Pete's on his phone. Sarah's typing furiously on hers. That's when I realize what Mike was trying to tell me. These people aren't just scared or confused. They're coordinated. And Karen Morrison didn't disappear after springing her trap. She just moved to phase 2. The neighbor tribunal breaks up fast after Mike leaves, but not before I catch Sarah Jenkins taking photos of my truck with her phone. Not subtle about it either. She's practically posing next to my tailgate like she's documenting evidence for court. Something I can help you with, Sarah? She jumps like I caught her stealing cookies. Oh, just, showing my sister your truck setup. She's thinking about hiring a contractor for her deck. Right, and I'm thinking about becoming a ballet dancer. I head inside and start making calls. First, the Henderson job. $2,000 down the drain, but at least they're understanding about the emergency situation. Second, my insurance company. If this is heading where I think it's heading, I want everything documented. That's when the real pressure starts. My phone rings, unknown local number. Jack Stone Contracting. Mr. Stone, this is Rebecca Walsh from the Tribune, the newspaper. I understand there's been some conflict in your neighborhood regarding safety compliance. My coffee cup freezes halfway to my lips. I'm sorry, what? We received several calls this morning about a contractor refusing to cooperate with emergency utility work, putting neighbors at risk. Would you care to comment? Several calls this morning. Karen's been busy. Ma'am, I think you've been misinformed. There is no emergency utility work. I called county utilities myself. Our sources say you've been argumentative and hostile towards safety protocols. Neighbors are concerned about potential liability issues. Sources. Plural. I'm starting to see the shape of this thing now. Listen, Rebecca, before you print anything, maybe you should verify with county utilities that there's actually work scheduled. Because I'm looking at a fake work order right now. Silence on the line. Then, are you accusing your neighbors of filing false reports, Mr. Stone? I'm suggesting you do your job and fact-check before running a story. She hangs up, but something tells me this conversation isn't over. I walk to my front window and peer through the blinds. The street looks normal. Too normal, like a movie set between takes. But then I spot them. Karen's car parked 2 blocks down. The white van back again, different spot this time. And that's Tom Bradley, standing in his driveway, talking on his phone while staring directly at my house. My phone buzzes. Text message from a number I don't recognize. Check the neighborhood Facebook page. I don't do social media, but my neighbor 2 doors down, Bill Martinez, does. I call him. Bill, it's Jack. Can you do me a favor and check the neighborhood Facebook group? Tell me if there's anything about me on there. Hold on, let me look. I hear clicking, scrolling. Then, oh man, Jack, this isn't good. What's it say? Karen posted about an hour ago. Says you're refusing to comply with emergency safety measures, threatening neighbors who try to help, acting aggressively toward anyone who questions your behavior. My chest tightens. Threatening neighbors? I haven't threatened anyone. I know that, but there's photos, Jack. Your truck behind the gate. You pointing at that work order. Sarah Jenkins posted a comment saying she felt intimidated and unsafe talking to you. Intimidated by me asking why she was photographing my truck. There's more, Bill continues. 12 comments so far. Mrs. Henderson saying she's concerned about escalation. Pete wondering if the homeowners association should get involved. Someone suggesting they contact your contractor's license board. My contractor's license. The thing I spent 15 years building. The reputation that feeds my family. Bill, none of this is true. I believe you, man, but you know how this works. Truth doesn't matter once the story gets rolling. He's right. I've seen it happen to other contractors. One bad review, one neighbor complaint, and suddenly you're the guy who cuts corners, who argues with customers, who can't be trusted with people's homes. I hang up and grab my keys. Time to go see Karen Morrison face to face. But when I step outside, there's a county sheriff's deputy walking up my driveway. Mr. Stone, Deputy Williams, I need to ask you a few questions about a complaint we received. Here it comes, the final piece of Karen's puzzle. What kind of complaint, Deputy? Harassment, intimidating behavior toward neighbors during a safety emergency. He pulls out a notepad. Multiple witnesses say you became hostile when they tried to explain the situation with the power line maintenance. Deputy, there is no power line maintenance. The work order is fake. I called county utilities. Sir, I need you to calm down. Calm down. I wasn't raised. But there's something in his voice, the way he's positioning himself between me and my own front door, that makes my father's dog tag feel heavy in my pocket. I am calm, Deputy, but I think someone's playing games here, and I'm getting tired of being the punchline. He writes something down. Games, sir? Fake work orders, coordinated neighbor complaints, media calls about stories that don't exist. I pull out my phone. I documented everything, times, phone calls, conversations. Mr. Stone, what I need from you right now is an assurance that you're going to cooperate with the ongoing maintenance work and avoid any further confrontations with your neighbors. Further confrontations, like I started this. Deputy, with all due respect, what if I told you the maintenance work doesn't exist? What if I could prove the paperwork is forged? He looks at me like I just claimed aliens stole my newspaper. Sir, are you suggesting county utilities doesn't know how to file proper work orders? No, I'm suggesting Karen Morrison knows exactly how to forge them. But looking at Deputy Williams' face, I realize I'm already the crazy conspiracy theorist in this story. Just look into it, okay? Call the utilities office. Ask them about scheduled work on Maple Street. He closes his notepad. I'll make some calls. In the meantime, I strongly suggest you avoid any behavior that might be interpreted as threatening or non-cooperative. As he walks away, I see curtains twitching in windows up and down the street. Everyone's watching, everyone's talking, and in every conversation, I'm the problem that needs solving. That's when I realize Karen Morrison didn't just trap me behind my own gate. She trapped me inside a story where I'm the villain and everyone else is just trying to stay safe. But what she doesn't know is that I've been underestimated before. And I still have my father's dog tag in my pocket, the same one he carried when people said his unit would never make it home. Some things don't break easy. Deputy Williams drives away, but the damage is done. I can feel the neighborhood watching me like I'm a bomb that might go off. That's when my phone rings again. This time, it's a number I recognize. Jack, it's Gloria Finch from the library. Her voice is barely above a whisper. Can you meet me at the back entrance in 20 minutes? And Jack, come alone. Gloria's been the town librarian for 30 years. If she's calling with cloak and dagger instructions, something's seriously wrong. I walk the 4 blocks to the library, using side streets to avoid the main drag where everyone can see me. The whole way, I'm thinking about what Mike Ernst said. Be careful who you trust. But Gloria's different. She's the kind of person who remembers everyone's name, who stayed late to help my daughter with her senior project, who never takes sides in town politics. She's waiting by the service door when I arrive, keys already in her hand. Inside, quickly, she says, ushering me through a narrow hallway lined with book carts. We end up in a small office behind the circulation desk, and she closes the door behind us. Gloria, what's this about? She sits down heavily in her desk chair and rubs her temples. Jack, I need to tell you something, but you can't let on that it came from me. My job depends on staying neutral in community disputes. I understand. Last night, around 9 o'clock, I was at Murphy's bar having dinner. She pauses, like she's ashamed to admit she eats at the local dive. Karen Morrison was there, with a man I didn't recognize, tall, thin, wearing one of those utility company shirts. My pulse quickens. Go on. They were in the back booth, the one where you can't hear conversations unless you're right next to it. But I was getting my coat from the rack nearby, and I heard her say something that made my blood run cold. Gloria pulls a tissue from her desk drawer and dabs at her eyes. She said, Mike, we need to keep him trapped for at least 48 hours. After that, it won't matter what he proves. Gloria looks up at me. Jack, they were laughing, actually laughing about trapping someone. The pieces start clicking together. the fake work order, the coordinated neighbor response, the media call, all of it designed to keep me locked behind my own gate while something else happens. Did you hear anything else? The man, Mike, I think she called him, said something about paperwork being filed tomorrow morning. Something about a lien process that would be irreversible once it starts. Gloria's hands are shaking now. Jack, I think they're trying to take your property. A lien, of course. Keep me distracted with fake emergencies and neighborhood drama while they file some kind of fraudulent claim against my house. By the time I figure it out, the legal wheels are already turning. Gloria, this Mike, did you get a good look at him? I did, actually, because when they got up to leave, he dropped his wallet. I saw his ID when he picked it up. She reaches into her desk drawer and pulls out a small notebook. Michael Morrison, same last name as Karen. Her brother, the one who works for the electric company, the one with access to official letterhead and work order templates. There's more, Gloria continues. After they left, I heard Karen on her phone in the parking lot. She was setting up some kind of meeting for first thing this morning. Something about getting the documentation to the county office before Stone figures it out. I check my watch. It's almost noon. Whatever they're planning, it might already be in motion. Gloria, I need to ask you a favor. Will you write down everything you just told me? Date it, sign it, maybe get it notarized? She nods quickly. Already ahead of you. She pulls out a typed letter from her desk. I wrote this up this morning after I couldn't sleep. Had it notarized at the bank on my way to work. I take the letter and scan it. Everything's there. The conversation, the timeline, the wallet incident. It's not enough to stop whatever they're doing, but it's proof that this whole thing is a setup. Why are you helping me, Gloria? You could just stay out of this. She stands up and walks to her office window, which overlooks the main street. Jack, I've lived in this town my whole life. I've watched good people get destroyed by rumors and politics, and people who think they're untouchable. She turns back to me. Karen Morrison has been pushing people around for years, small things usually, making life difficult for anyone who doesn't fall in line. But this is different. How so? She's not just trying to win an argument or prove a point. She's trying to destroy you, completely. And that scares me, because if she can do it to you, she can do it to anyone. I fold Gloria's letter carefully and put it in my jacket pocket, right next to my father's dog tag. Thank you. This means everything. Don't thank me yet, she says, because here's what you need to know. Whatever they filed this morning, you probably have until tomorrow to challenge it. After that, the legal system takes over, and it becomes a months-long nightmare even if you eventually win. Tomorrow, less than 24 hours to figure out what they've done and how to stop it. I'm halfway to the door when Gloria calls my name. Jack, that deputy who came to see you this morning, Deputy Williams. Yeah? His wife works part-time at the county clerk's office, filing department. She gives me a look that says everything without saying anything. Of course she does. Karen's not just running a con game. She's running it with inside help at every level. The neighbors, the media, the police, the county offices. All of it coordinated like a military operation. But as I walk out of the library, I'm thinking about something else Gloria said. Karen's been pushing people around for years. Small things, usually. Which means there might be other people in this town who are tired of her games. People who might be willing to help if they knew what was really happening. Time to find out who else Karen Morrison has pushed too far. Because sometimes the best way to break a conspiracy is to turn the conspirators against each other. I'm walking back from the library when my phone explodes with notifications. Text messages, missed calls, voicemails, all coming in like an avalanche. The first text makes my stomach drop. Your contractor license review hearing has been moved to tomorrow morning. Failure to appear will result in automatic suspension. The contractor license board, Karen's nuclear option. I scroll through the other messages. 3 more job cancellations. A voicemail from my insurance company wanting to discuss recent claims and liability concerns. Another text from that Tribune reporter asking for comment on additional allegations from community members. But the one that hits hardest is from Tom Bradley. Jack, I'm sorry. They threatened my kid's scholarship fund. The Homeowners Association controls the community foundation. I had to back Karen's story. Please understand. Tom's kids, college scholarships. Karen didn't just threaten his business, she threatened his family's future. That's when I realize how deep this goes. She's not just targeting me, she's leveraging everyone, using their fears and needs against them. I'm still staring at Tom's message when a car pulls up beside me. It's Mike Ernst, the code inspector, and his face looks grim. "Get in," he says. "We need to talk and not where anyone can see us." I climb into his county truck and he drives us to the old industrial part of town where the abandoned mill sits empty. He parks behind the building where we can't be seen from the road. "Jack, I made some calls after we talked this morning." He pulls out a manila folder. "You're not going to like what I found." "Tell me." Karen's brother, Mike Morrison. He doesn't just work for the electric company. He's in their legal department, handles property disputes, easement issues, right-of-way claims. Mike opens the folder. 3 months ago, he filed a preliminary claim against your property, something about an electrical easement that was supposedly established in 1987 but never properly recorded. My blood goes cold. An easement for what? Power line access. The claim says the original property survey was flawed, that your house and garage are built on land that should be public utility corridor. He hands me a copy of the filing. If this claim gets approved, the county can force you to demolish any structures in the easement zone and sell that portion of your land to the utility company for basically nothing. I stare at the paperwork. Legal language I barely understand, but the intent is crystal clear. They're not just trying to harass me or make me look bad. They're trying to steal my property. How is this legal? It's not if the easement is fake, but proving it's fake takes time. Months of legal battles, thousands in attorney fees, and meanwhile you can't sell, can't renovate, can't do anything with your property. Mike takes the papers back. The beauty of it is, even if you eventually win, you're financially destroyed by the process. What about the fake work order from this morning? That was just the setup, creating a paper trail of you being uncooperative with utility access. Makes the easement claim look legitimate. He starts the truck. "Jack, there's something else. The license board hearing tomorrow, it's not random timing." "What do you mean?" "I called my friend who works there. Someone filed a complaint 2 weeks ago claiming you were doing unpermitted work, ignoring safety codes, being hostile to inspectors." He looks at me. The complaint was filed by Michael Morrison, acting as a concerned citizen. 2 weeks ago, before any of this started. Karen's been planning this for weeks, maybe months. The fake emergency, the neighbor pressure, the media attention, all of it designed to build a case that I'm an unstable contractor who can't be trusted. "Mike, why are you helping me?" He's quiet for a long moment, staring through the windshield at the empty mill. "Because 6 months ago, Karen Morrison tried to do something similar to my neighbor. Different method, same result. She wanted to buy his property cheap, so she started a campaign about his yard being a public nuisance. Code violations that didn't exist, neighbor complaints about imaginary problems, pressure from the homeowners association. What happened? He sold to her for half what the place was worth, just to make it stop. Moved away, broken and bitter. Mike turns to look at me. I should have stood up for him then. I'm not making that mistake twice. We drive back toward town in silence, but my mind is racing. Karen has the system rigged at every level. The neighbors scared or bought off. The police taking her word over mine. The county offices staffed with her allies. Fighting this through official channels would be like trying to win a poker game where everyone else can see your cards. But there's something Karen doesn't know. Something Gloria mentioned that's been nagging at me all day. She said Karen's been pushing people around for years. Small things usually. Which means there are others like Tom Bradley's neighbor. People who got steamrolled by Karen Morrison and walked away angry. Mike, I need you to do me one more favor. Name it. That neighbor of yours, the one who sold his property to Karen, is he still in touch with anyone in town? Actually, yeah. His brother still lives here. Dave Kowalski works at the auto parts store. Mike glances at me. Why? Because Karen Morrison's built her whole operation on people being isolated and scared. But what if they weren't isolated anymore? What if all her victims started comparing notes? Mike's face lights up with understanding. You want to find the others? I want to find every person Karen Morrison has screwed over in the past 5 years. And then I want to invite them all to tomorrow morning's homeowners association meeting. Jack, that's actually brilliant. But how do we find them all by tomorrow? I pull out my phone and scroll to Gloria's number. We start with someone who knows everyone in this town and remembers every favor, every slight, and every injustice. The librarian who keeps records of everything. The woman who sits at the center of all the town's information flow. The one person Karen Morrison never thought to worry about, because librarians are supposed to be neutral. Sometimes the best weapon against a conspiracy is the truth, and sometimes the truth is hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone brave enough to dig it up and share it with everyone. Tomorrow morning, Karen Morrison is going to learn what happens when all her chickens come home to roost at the same time. But tonight, I've got calls to make and allies to gather. And I'm starting to think my father's dog tag isn't just keeping me grounded anymore. It's reminding me that sometimes you have to fight for what's yours. Gloria Finch's kitchen table becomes our war room. By 8 p.m., we've got 7 people crammed around it, and the air smells like coffee and righteous anger. Dave Kowalski brought his brother's entire file of documents from the property fight. Linda Chen, who runs the flower shop, has photos of the mysterious code violations that forced her to waste $3,000 on unnecessary permits. Old Sam Martinez has receipts showing how Karen manipulated the community foundation to deny his grandson's college scholarship after Sam refused to vote for her pet projects. But the real bombshell comes from someone I never expected. Jack, there's something else, Gloria says, sliding a manila envelope across the table. After you left the library today, I did some digging in our historical records. Property deeds, old surveys, newspaper archives going back to the 1980s. I opened the envelope. Inside are photocopies of original county documents, highlighted in the yellow marker. That electrical easement Michael Morrison claims was established in 1987, it never existed, but something else did. Gloria points to a specific line in an old property deed. Your land was actually designated as part of a wildlife preservation zone. Legally protected. No utility easements allowed, ever. Linda Chen leans forward. What does that mean? It means Michael Morrison didn't just forge a work order, I say, scanning the documents. He filed a completely fraudulent legal claim. That's not civil harassment anymore. That's criminal fraud. Dave Kowalski whistles low. So we got her on felony charges? We got her brother on felony charges, Gloria corrects. But proving Karen knew about it is harder. That's when my phone buzzes. Text message from Mike Ernst. Emergency county building, now. Bring everyone. The county building is supposed to be closed at 9 p.m., but Mike is waiting for us at the side entrance with his key card. His face is pale under the parking lot lights. I shouldn't be doing this, he says, as he leads us through darkened hallways. But if I don't, you'll never get the proof you need. We end up in the records room, where Mike boots up a computer terminal. After we talked today, I kept thinking about the timeline. How did Karen know exactly when to start this whole operation? He pulls up a database screen. So I checked the permit applications for your neighborhood going back 6 months. The screen shows a list of applications, and Mike highlights one near the top. 3 months ago, someone filed an application to survey the electrical infrastructure in your area. Routine maintenance stuff, usually, but look at who requested it. Morrison Consulting Services, Michael Morrison's side business. He used his position at the electric company to justify a neighborhood survey, Mike continues. Then he used that survey to identify properties that might be vulnerable to easement claims. Gloria squints at the screen. This is premeditated. They've been planning this for months. It gets worse, Mike says. He clicks to another screen. The Homeowners Association has been meeting in closed sessions for the past 2 months. No public notices, no minutes filed with the county like they're supposed to. But I found the scheduling requests. Dave Kowalski frowns. What were they meeting about? Property acquisitions, budget allocations for legal fees, and something called community improvement initiatives. Mike looks grim. Jack, I think you're not the only target. I think Karen's been working on a systematic plan to force out property owners and buy their land cheap. Linda Chen's face goes white. My shop. She's been pressuring me to sell for months, said the neighborhood needed retail modernization. Sam Martinez nods slowly. The scholarship thing. She wanted my grandson to feel like his family wasn't welcome here. I feel that familiar weight of my father's dog tag against my chest. But this time, it's not just grounding me. It's reminding me of something Dad used to say. When you're outnumbered, you don't fight fair, you fight smart. Mike, can you print all of this? Already on it. Papers start feeding out of the printer. But Jack, there's something else you need to know. That contractor license hearing tomorrow, it's not just about your license. What do you mean? If you lose your contractor's license, you also lose your homeowner's insurance classification. Properties owned by unlicensed contractors are considered higher risk. He hands me the printed documents. Your mortgage company would have grounds to call in your loan immediately. The final piece of Karen's puzzle. Not just take my property through a fake easement claim, but make it impossible for me to keep it even if I fight the claim. Destroy my license, trigger the loan recall, force a foreclosure sale where she can buy it for pennies on the dollar. How long do we have? Gloria asks. The license hearing is at 9 a.m. If Jack doesn't show or if he can't mount a defense, it's over by 10. Mike shuts down the computer. After that, the mortgage company gets notified automatically. I look around the room at these people who barely knew me 48 hours ago, but are willing to risk their jobs and reputations to help me fight. Dave, with his brother's pain still fresh. Linda, with her business under threat. Sam, with his grandson's future on the line. Gloria, with her 30 years of watching bullies win. Mike, with his guilt over not acting sooner. What would you do, I ask them, if you were in my place? Linda speaks first. I'd make sure everyone in town knows what she's been doing. I'd make sure she can't do it to anyone else, Sam adds. Dave nods. I'd make sure she pays for what she did to my brother. Gloria smiles, and there's something fierce in her expression. I'd make sure the whole story comes out. All of it. Every scheme, every threat, every abuse of power. Mike checks his watch. The Homeowners Association has an emergency meeting scheduled for 8 a.m. tomorrow, 1 hour before your license hearing. Karen called it this afternoon. To do what? Officially censure you for repeated violations of community standards and cooperation with emergency services. He looks at me. She's going to have you formally banned from the neighborhood association. Make it look like the community has rejected you completely. That's when I realize what we have to do. Karen Morrison has been playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers, but she made one mistake. She assumed her victims would stay isolated and afraid. Tomorrow morning, she's going to learn what happens when all the people she's pushed around show up to the same meeting with the same evidence and the same story. But tonight, we have work to do. Phone calls to make, documents to organize, allies to gather. And one more thing. I pull out my father's dog tag and set it on Gloria's kitchen table. My dad carried this through 3 tours in Vietnam. He used to say the most dangerous thing you can do to a soldier is make him feel like he's got nothing left to lose. I look around the room at faces that have gone from worried to determined. Karen Morrison just made that mistake with all of us. 8 a.m. sharp. The community center meeting room holds maybe 30 people comfortably. This morning, there are 67 of us packed in here, and the air crackles with tension. Karen Morrison sits at the head table with her usual supporters, but something's wrong with her perfect composure. Her eyes keep darting to the back of the room, where people she clearly didn't expect to see are standing along the walls. Dave Kowalski's brother made the drive from 3 towns over. Linda Chen brought her entire extended family. Sam Martinez has half the Latino community with him, including his grandson in his college letter jacket. Gloria sits in the front row with a stack of files that makes Karen's face go pale. But the real surprise is Tom Bradley. He walks in at 2 minutes past 8, looking like he hasn't slept, and sits down right behind me. Tom, I whisper, you don't have to... Yeah, I do, he says. My kids asked me this morning what integrity means. Figured I better show them. Karen calls the meeting to order, her voice artificially bright. We're here to address the ongoing safety concerns regarding Mr. Jack Stone's refusal to cooperate with emergency utility maintenance and his pattern of hostile behavior toward community members. She starts reading from prepared remarks about neighborhood standards and community cooperation. But something's off. Michael Morrison, her brother, isn't here. The utility workers from yesterday are nowhere to be seen. And Deputy Williams is standing by the door with an expression that suggests he's not here to help Karen. That's when I stand up. "Point of order," I say, loud enough to cut through her speech. "Before we discuss my alleged pattern of behavior, I think everyone here deserves to see the actual evidence." Karen's smile falters. "Mr. Stone, you're not recognized to speak." "I'm recognized by every person in this room who's been lied to, threatened, or manipulated by you." I pull out the stack of documents Mike printed last night. "Starting with the fake utility work order you used to justify locking me out of my own property." I hold up the forged document. "This morning I called County Utilities again, recorded the conversation this time. There was never any scheduled maintenance. There was never any safety emergency. There was never any legitimate reason to block my gate." Murmurs ripple through the crowd. Some of Karen's supporters look confused. Mrs. Henderson raises her hand. "But Karen showed us the official paperwork." "Forged by her brother Michael Morrison, who works for the electric company." Gloria stands up, opening her first file, using stolen letterhead and fabricated work order numbers, which, by the way, constitutes felony fraud under state law. Karen's face goes white. "That's completely—" Here's Michael Morrison's signed confession. Deputy Williams speaks up from the back. "Arrested this morning at 6 a.m. Turns out when you threaten people's property with fake legal documents, someone eventually calls the FBI." The room explodes. People talking over each other, Karen trying to regain control, her supporters suddenly looking like they want to be anywhere else. But I'm not done. "Tom Bradley," I call out. "Tell everyone what Karen threatened if you didn't back her story." Tom stands slowly. "She said if I didn't support the complaint against Jack, she'd make sure my kids lost their community foundation scholarships. Said the Homeowners Association controls the selection committee." Sam Martinez jumps up. "She did the same thing to my grandson. Said his family didn't represent the right community values for scholarship consideration." Linda Chen waves a folder. "She's been using code enforcement threats to pressure business owners to sell their properties below market value. I've got documentation going back 2 years. One by one, they stand. Dave Kowalski's brother tells the story of being forced from his home. A young mother describes being harassed over playground noise until she moved away. An elderly man explains how Karen manipulated homeowner association rules to force him to cut down trees that had been in his family for generations. Karen tries to interrupt, to regain control, but the stories keep coming. Years of abuse, manipulation, and intimidation. All documented, all witnessed, all connected to the same pattern of using fear and bureaucracy to get what she wants. Finally, I walk to the front of the room and face her directly. "Karen Morrison, you made one mistake in all of this. You assumed people would stay afraid and isolated. You assumed no one would fight back." I pull my father's dog tag from my pocket. This belonged to a man who taught me that bullies only win when good people do nothing. I turn to address the entire room. Every person here has a choice. You can keep letting Karen Morrison decide who belongs in this community and who doesn't. Or you can stand up and say enough. The vote to remove Karen from the Homeowners Association board passes 53-8. The vote to ban her from holding any community leadership position for 5 years passes unanimously, with Karen herself abstaining. Deputy Williams walks her out in handcuffs 20 minutes later. Turns out conspiracy to commit fraud, filing false police reports, and using her position to extort community members adds up to some serious charges. The contractor license hearing gets postponed indefinitely after the state board receives copies of all our evidence. Hard to justify disciplining someone based on complaints filed by people who've been arrested for fraud. But here's the thing that really matters. That afternoon, my gate works perfectly. Tom Bradley helps me fix the electronic lock that was never broken, just reprogrammed by Karen's utility worker friends. Linda Chen brings over coffee and homemade cookies. Sam Martinez's grandson asks if I need help with yard work to earn some extra money. The neighborhood feels different now, lighter somehow, like a weight's been lifted that people didn't even realize they were carrying. 3 months later, I'm sitting on my front porch with that cup of coffee I never got to finish that first morning. The evening air smells like barbecue smoke and cut grass instead of fear and manipulation. My phone rings with job offers instead of cancellation calls. Gloria Finch stops by with a book she thinks I'd like. Mike Ernst waves from his evening jog. Tom Bradley's kids are playing in the yard across the street, their laughter echoing off houses that finally feel like homes again. I pull out my father's dog tag and hold it up to catch the last light of sunset. Sometimes standing up to bullies is about more than just protecting yourself. Sometimes it's about protecting everyone who comes after you. Karen Morrison thought she could isolate us, intimidate us, and pick us off one by one. What she didn't count on was that some things don't break easy. And when you threaten a man's home, his livelihood, and his community, sometimes you find out just how unbreakable he really is. The gate opens smoothly every time now, but more importantly, so do the doors between neighbors who finally remembered what it means to stand together. Some battles are worth fighting, some bullies need to be stopped, and sometimes, when everything seems hopeless, the best thing you can do is refuse to give up. Because that's what my father would have done, and that's what his son did too.